Welcome to the Drone Bench podcast where we break down the art of science of being a professional technician, repair technician, that is. And I'm your host, Caldwell. Today, about two individuals who represent very different, equal, valid for the world. Can you give a quick shout out or name, whatever name you want to use on YouTube?
I'm Alex. I'm from Houston. So I've been flying drones for some years. 15 years now, so.
Next.
Hey, yo, my name is Aquan. I'm from Chicago area, and I've been programming and building robotics and drones for the past few years.
So first, we have Alex, our hands-on pragmatist. He's self-taught. He has probably logged more hours with soldering irons than a keyboard. He believes in real-world experience, scars, that are the best teacher. So welcome, Alex. And we also have Daquan, who comes from a more structured background. He's more a firm believer in formal training process and the power of a good credential. He's our formalist. Great to meet you, Daquan. So today we're attacking the two huge topics for every technician that faces. First, are certification classes actually worth the time and money? Let me repeat that again. Are certification classes worth the time and money? And second, do you have to have, when there's complex, unfamiliar repairs, who do you get to help you out? So what do you do when there's a complex, unfamiliar repair lands on your bench and there's pressure to get it done? So what you do then? So let's get into it. So we got the topic. We know what the questions is. We know the dilemma. All right. So let's start off. All right. Let's dive right into it. The first drone and robotics industry is maturing, and we're seeing more technician certifications pop up. Certifications pop up all over the place. So we seeing that. I ran into one myself. I'm like, oh, wow, I might be interested in this. But I thought. So Daquan, I will start with you. And this view is a formal certification. It must have someone who wants to make serious career out of this. So what do you think? Do you think a formal certification is good? Is good for someone to get into the field?
Yeah, I would say, I do got one question. What is a formal certification? Is that like getting into the hands-on part of the drone, or?
The formal certification is just schooling.
Okay. Yeah. So I would say the formal certification would be worth it if they have activities involved with it. I really like textbook. Like textbook, because with textbook you go and sit there so long, especially attention span, pay attention. So if you have activities with it, so test flying a drone or basically repairing a drone, that'd be worth it.
That's a strong point about credibility. But Alex, you built some incredible machines and learned from all your online resources, trial and error. And what's your counter argument? Can't you learn everything you need from YouTube and forums for free?
100%. I agree in that all the way. I learned everything I learned from YouTube initially, or from playing with drones myself. So I believe that there's a way that you can go around formal schooling, because when you do formal schooling, nobody's ever up to date on the newest trends.
We got a good. Oh no, Daquan, you don't agree with him. You debate with him. You going with formal, right? And he's basically, scars experience. So you got to argue this down, man. Whatever point you may have to say formal schooling. So think about something. But this is supposed to be a debate going on here between certifications or non-experience. So I do have a question for that. How about you? Do you think when you go and apply for a job, do they look at the certifications, or they look at maybe your YouTube videos of what you did? Does certifications really help in regarding getting employment?
It depends on which caliber you're looking at. Are you looking at jobs, 9 to 5, or are you looking at drones?
Drone jobs to be like a technician.
You're looking at drone jobs, nobody's looking at they'll see your application, but a lot of times whenever you're doing for drone positions, they want to see the work you've done so you have a portfolio. So it's more in the art industry instead of the 9 to 5. I have this on my resume type situation.
Daquan, do you agree with that? How about if you go to the University of Chicago and get your drone certification? Now you know how to build it from scratch, programming and everything. Do you think that's just as good as Alex learning it by himself?
I would say it gives them more credibility by going to the university, especially doing like getting into that program at the university, because they're able to like get deep into like the science of it. So if something goes wrong with it or something like that, they're able to like see what's happening versus like watching videos or something like that. They only can do so much unless you have like an expert like teaching you right there in the video. But like with that too, like especially too, like you can get deep into the science of it to where you can do the like if you have to do any math. I know for engineering, you gotta do like the math equations and all that stuff. You understand what is going on in the back end versus like seeing in the front end, like okay, like this is working, this not working. No, so and then they'll want to see also too with drones, and also I know for programming, anything like that with like any mechanical engineering aspect of aerospace, like it's best to have like a portfolio page. So projects you worked on at the university with like revolving around that field. So like a GitHub, or like GitHub is for like software, like engineering programmers, but then also to like a portfolio like website page too with that. So yeah.
All right.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Now I'm ready to do this.
Okay. You got something to come back with, Alex? You got something?
This asking questions. Let's say you have a portfolio. Why wouldn't I have a portfolio?
So you saying like why wouldn't you have like a portfolio?
Yeah, you brought a portfolio, like that's what you would have at a 4-year location, you know. Y'all would be working on projects and drones, and y'all would have a portfolio of things that y'all worked on, which is accurate. With the guy who's learning from YouTube not have a portfolio.
Yeah.
Because y'all both been doing the same amount of years, so.
Yeah. Now, they have a portfolio too. But I feel like, especially with a portfolio coming from a university aspect, you able to give, I'll say, it's like if they ask you like, okay, like show us like more so, I'm trying to think of a realistic aspect. I know like they ask like an interview question, like although you know like what's in the front end, like okay, what's the issue with this drone, or what's the issue with this robot? But then the front end you can see, okay, like kind of like the shell is messed up, the motor is messed up, the blade is messed up, like whatever it is, or even on the robot is like the indie factor is messed up. But then you can also show more proof in the back end, saying, okay, this is the like kind of like the math equation that's going on behind it, that this is not getting out its right output. Then basically you need to adjust the programming and see what's actually happening, and like within the wiring and all that stuff too. So portfolios could be this. Like they could both have portfolios, but it depends what type of portfolio. You see what I'm saying? Like so.
Yeah, fair enough. I give you that.
Yeah.
Portfolios different. They can differ, but now on the same side, if anybody's been building a drone longer than 3 to 4 weeks, they should have used a multimeter, which is what you're going to be using for your science portion.
Yeah.
So you can see the electricity, or you can see the continuity between, the motors and the flight controller, or the motors and the ESCs, or something like that, right? So, yeah. I mean, we still got the same thing. There could be videos of me doing it on an Instagram page, which could be my portfolio.
And then I think another thing too that differs the two different type of portfolios is that with university, they tend to write papers on it, you know. So if you're a master's student or a PhD student, or even an undergrad student that getting involved with master research, something like that, you have credibility of saying that, hey, my name is on this paper, this person published it, this professor published it. And then sometimes even like companies, they take that research from the university and also embed it within their technology, and then they be able to hire those people that was involved with that research. And because like they know more about what's going on with those type of like technical details with that. So
okay.
All right. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about the cost, because it's a real factor, Daquan. Some of these
Yeah.
programs are thousands of dollars. So how do you, as a new technician, justify that expense when you could be buying professional grade tools or projects, work on projects with drones that you could practice on, such as what Alex does? So what is your comeback for the cost? Should a technician spend that much money on certification for schooling?
Mm,
Because let's just say the certification may cost, let's just say $5,000.
yeah.
Alex can buy what? How many builder drones can you buy with $5,000? Different styles, Alex, with that.
A good amount, at least 10.
So you got 10.
I'll say 8. I'll say 8, and then I can rebuild them.
So we got 8 that he can rebuild. While you going through the class, he's buying the material and putting it together himself. So what is your thought on the cost? Is it worth the cost as a technician to take on that certification? And you could think of things such as return on investment, job opportunities, lower risk.
Yeah.
So what is your thought on the cost?
Yeah, I would say it'll be worth it because you become more reliable, if you know what is going on. Versus if you don't have a certification, it's kind of like more of like a liability issue with companies now. So for example, if you I know I've seen at workplaces where if we have different robots, right? So from ABV to FanNuke, you have to get certification with them. But if you don't have certification and you're a technician but then you go work on a robot or something like that, or that specific robot, something goes wrong, it falls on the company because they have a technician coming in that's not certified. We're working on that robot. So you see what I'm saying with that?
I could. Now, let's talk about the other aspect of it. If you coming in from college, have you really had real world experience? Other than what's on your portfolio that's in a controlled environment?
All right.
Go ahead. Yeah, that's all.
No, so I would say the real world experience from a college student would be doing internships or co-ops. And internships is the lower level, I would say, but co-ops is the kind of that one where you have that real world experience where you're able to see the ins and outs of what's going on within 6 months to a year on the job, and actually in the co-op you full time versus in the internship you full time for only 3 months, if not 3 months, 4 to 5 months sometimes, depending on it. So that's the real world experience that we would have, I would say. And also too, some college students, they probably took breaks in between saying, okay, I'm gonna go work at basically in the field for a couple of years and come back and finish my degree or something like that too. So it depends on the person on that aspect too. So, but yeah.
Okay, I can give you that. Co-ops are nice. Internships are nice. They can be paid and non-paid, but you're still gonna level up to somebody who's been doing it for 6 to 8 years on multiple types of drones compared to you going through your 4-year university.
Yeah. Now I will give you that. Yeah, the 6 to 8 years, 7 or 8 years on my drone versus a university, being at 3 or 4 years, right? But if I would say, how about is more so, this where you get tricky at. It's where if say you both have the same amount of experience, as a college student and as the technician that didn't go to college, and basically y'all had the same amount of years experience, 3 or 4 years, 5 years, and then that college student goes back to get their master's in that particular field, right? Would they be more worth it than the actual technician that didn't go to college, or would that person with the master's with that?
Okay, I'll raise you this one. Let's say you graduate college, you go work, you go back and get your master's. Your master's will generally take you about 2 years to go through.
Yeah.
During that 2 years, do you think that curriculum is updated or no?
During the master's team, so with masters, the curriculum always updates. I feel every year to year because they they doing the research consistently. Even with bachelors, I would say it's a little different. It's a little bit behind, a little bit, but not so much. Right now, they got technology now where they can update their curriculum right away, but masters are no. It's more so they actually work on the current technology, if not the future technology that will be out in 5 years, and businesses will see that, and then they would add that to the technology later on and say, okay, we're going to put this in research and development, and then they have and also businesses research development team is also working at university, so then it's always up to date all the time. That's why.
Okay. I mean, that's one way of thinking about it. I don't think that this is me, but I don't think that colleges are as up to date as most people think think whenever it comes to curriculum. Now you got to think about your college. Is your college going to be a college that's up to date with their curriculum, or are they going to be a college that's like, hey, this curriculum's worked for us for the last 3 years, and people keep coming back to us for degrees?
Now that also depends too. What type of college you're talking about?
Gee, this is not even a conversation anymore.
Yeah, no, they're like very 5 or 10 years ahead. So
Bang these questions out. So, what that brings up a good point. At DLS, we do everything through the lens of risk and safety. So, Daquan, how does a piece of paper certification change the potential of an employee or insurance company views as a technician? So, what do they do when they see that you demonstrated the fact that you went through the protocols of learning everything about the drone itself before you work on it?
Hey, you saying? You sure?
I'm gonna back that up. Hold on, that's not a fair question. I mean, just simply because who knows where we're coming from? The insurance company don't know if I'm Joe Schmo from the street, if my name is under an LLC, or if I'm working for a company. So it's kind of a hard question.
Yes, sometimes, if it's under the LLC, that insurance company will utilize that certification as a broad scope of everybody. So whoever's name is on that is liable for everybody else. So if that goes wrong, it will be a mark on that person's name who's utilizing that certification as a form of getting a discount for insurance. So my point is, will people look at you better regarding you having a certification than you walking off the street?
I can say they probably look at me better, but doing the work better is going to be a different question.
But Alex, let's be honest. Does a certification actually prove you can perform under pressure, or just
no? That's what I'm saying. No,
does it prove that you can perform under pressure, or you could just pass a test? How important is Gentry versus a portfolio of complex successful repairs? And could you actually show an employer?
That's why I think that the certification doesn't win against scars, honestly. Now that could just be because I have a bunch of scars that I'm on a scars team, but I don't see the certification winning simply because you say you got your name to you. Your name is cute, and that college name is cute as well. But not Chicago. MIT has only been doing these certain type of drones for years. They only been doing DJI. DJI no longer is in the city, or they've only been working on this type of drone because they have a what's that thing called? A contract with them. I don't know. I still feel like your scars will still win the fight every day because your scars have told you how to diagnose any drone compared to just one drone.
So it sounds like we're landing on a good question. I'll pose this to both of you. Is it right? Answer depending on your career goal. For instance, if you want to be a top tier FPV builder for a racing team, maybe it's hands-on scars are what matters. But if the goal is to work for a major industrial company such as Wing, a city safety department, or certified repair station like DLS, does that certification become a non-negotiable ticket to entry?
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
No? We good?
Okay, that's a different type of question because, I mean, like you said, where am I trying to go to? Am I trying to go to the industrial world? Do I have a portfolio behind me that approves my industrial world work? Or do I have a portfolio behind me that just shows that, hey, I've been working on drones for the last 10 years and this is the company I've been working under. So here's my portfolio. Sometimes a portfolio rings more words than a degree does. So I feel like this always comes down to, like you said, where I'm trying to work and who I'm trying to work for. Because Wing is still going to need pilots. And I can guarantee you a lot of people have FAA license but can't fly drones.
Yeah, I agree with that. This is a fantastic debate. And I think we given our listeners a lot to think about. We're going to take a quick, well, no, we're not. Basically, so let's set the scene. A client brings a brand new, highly complex industrial robot where you never seen it before, let alone worked on it. It's mission critical asset for the business and the pressure is on. So Alex, you're a hands-on guy. What is your absolute first move? What do you do before you even think about picking up your tool?
Oh, diagnose the problem. I got to figure out what's going on. Was it actually broken? Is it not flying, or is it a user error?
So, Daquan, from your more structural safety focused perspective, what is the most single biggest mistake a technician can make when faced with the exact situation?
Mm-hmm.
So from a safety perspective, what is one of the biggest mistakes a technician can make when faced with this exact situation?
I would say probably, if you're going to get down to it, I would say probably checking is So like when they check in for like user error or any like hardware error or something like that, it's not taking pretty much safety protocol. I'm pretty strict with that, wearing the right PPE and all that stuff. And yeah, I'm trying to think about this more. Yeah.
All right, so yeah, I mean that's a pretty good. I'll leave that open ended. This brings us to a critical point we preach here at DLS, RTFM, or read the blank manual. Let's be honest, a lot of people skip this. How important it is. Where do you even start looking for official documentation for a brand new piece of gear? So reading the manual is always the way to go. So where do you usually go? So let's just say you do find a new piece of gear. Where do you normally go to find documentation for that hardware that you're working on?
We both should have the same answers for this. Google.
You Google the spec sheet, the manual.
Of course.
And then like if it's a name brand, I would say go to their website and they should have like a forum or so like that where it shows the spec sheets of their different drones that they have and pull up a PDF. So yeah.
So Alex, I'm curious if you have a war story for us. Have you ever ran into a serious trouble just by diving in and tinkering without doing the prep work first? What is your lesson?
From not doing the work first, yeah, I got probably a few.
So give us
one was I had a drone that I've been working on for a couple weeks and it was not connecting. And I think at the time I was running the Black Sheep TVS and I bought a Fly Sky receiver. And the receiver that I had a different, a different wiring system than what the TVS called for. And so once I actually looked up the call setting for the Fly Sky receiver, I was able to actually get the drone working. And it probably would save me a lot of time if I would have just that's probably one good war story. Because I needed that drone up for a race.
So what you learned from that?
What I learned from it, don't throw all the instructions away immediately.
Yeah, you don't want to have too much clutter, right? What they call it, hoarding. You got all this drone stuff, hoard this manual here, this manual there. You got to be organized, right? As a technician, with your manuals, your tools, your documents, save it away to where you can get easy accessible later on. So that's definitely a big part, organization as a technician. Once you had the manual, what's next? What's the process for what I call digital teardown? Learning the machine inside out before you ever physically touch the hardware.
After I had everything set up, then try to do like a test run to see where everything goes first, or see how everything should fit. And then from there, I would, then I would do real runs, make sure my flux is good, make sure I've understood every part that's going into it. There's a working process to it. Do your research prior to you buying all the parts, especially if you're going to do FPV.
You need to learn schematics, watch videos, or, understand a little bit about the system?
Sometimes, but at the same time, all FPV drones are going to be built the same. There's going to be a flight controller, there's going to be an ESC, there's going to be motors, and then you have your accessories like cameras if you want to have a camera that's FPV, or if you want to have payloads that's on there. All these things are secondary. So the brains of a drone are always going to be the same. A flight controller, ESCs, motors. Other than that.
Okay, this sounds pretty good. It sounds like we're building a repeatable process, professional process here. If we're going to write an official drone logistics services standard operating procedure for unfamiliar repairs, what will we do? Let's talk about what are the 5 key steps since you talked about it. So let's build a standard operating procedure for repair. So what would that look like for you?
For me?
Yeah, let's talk about it. We building a standard operating procedure for let's say another technician. So it's an unfamiliar repair. So what are some things? What are the 5 steps we want to take?
Visual. So do visual check.
Is visual more like stop, assess, and gather the information?
Stop, assess, and see if there's any visual damage to the drone.
Then what?
Then from there, we would stop with the visual, and then we would test. Put it in a battery, see what's actually going on with it.
At what step do you grab the documentation and look at the manual?
Depends on which drone. That's in the beginning. This is after we've initially grabbed it. We need to visually inspect it, see what's wrong with it, put the battery in, see if what the customer said was wrong is actually wrong. And then from there, we can grab the documentation and see how to fix that situation. We don't need to grab the document until we know exactly what's wrong. Documentation is not going to tell us nothing if we can't visually, if we don't know what's going on with it. The only thing it's going to tell us like, hey, this code means this. We don't know how to get to that code yet. We don't know if the motor's working or if it's just a loose cable.
So remember, this is an unfamiliar repair. So you isolate the system to see exactly, if it's the motor, right? You isolate it to say, okay, I know it's the motor, so therefore these are the only parts I have to worry about. I don't have to worry about this other stuff.
I'm isolating everything because I don't need to worry about everything else. Especially, I'm not worried about the ESC or the camera if neither one of them are a problem.
Now that you know the problem, let's just say ESC, motor, or whatever, what you gonna do then? What's the next step?
Oh, after that, then I'll figure out what the actual problem is. Then I'll grab the manual. After I figured out, let's say if it's a motor, then I'll grab the manual and say, hey, this is how I fix this motor. Then I can go about doing it that way. But until then, I don't need that. I don't need that manual.
So now that it's the motor, right? What do you do once it's the manual? Do you just got to start taking everything apart?
If I'm going to do an actual drone repair, and I know that it's one of my motors, I'm going to find that motor, order the motor. Whenever the motor gets to me, then I will start tearing down.
Okay, so
I will find the.
What's the process of you tearing it down? What does that look like? You do what?
I can go to the manual, but if it's a motor, there should be 4 screws on the bottom, like every other drone, or I'll take apart the casing, and then I would get to those 4 screws that I need to take out. But it's a motor. They're all held in by 4 screws underneath.
Yes, I understand that. So that might be coming from your scars, experience, or whatever. But what I know from when I'm ever dealing with something that's unfamiliar, I have to take pictures of everything, because if I take something apart and I need to put it back together, if I'm unfamiliar, if I haven't done it in a while, or the first time ever doing it, I need to document everything that I'm doing so I can know step by step by step. This wire goes here because it could be like 3 prongs that it can go into is in the middle. And then when I go put it back together, I make a mistake and put it to the right-hand side, not thinking it was in the middle the first time because I didn't take a picture. So I think documenting what you're doing and taking photos of what you're doing compared to just, it's like when you cooking the nice home cooked meal, grandma don't use measuring tools. She just do it off her eye. So it's more like when you got experience, you could do it off the eye and get that perfect flavor. But the inexperienced person got to go with the measuring cups to make sure they got it the right way to get it up to par. So I think something like me and Daquan, right, who's not as savvy as you are, have to take safety precautions, which is documenting everything we're doing, taking photos of everything we're doing, and being organized so where the next person comes along, they know exactly what I did. Or when I come back a year later, I look at the notes, I see exactly what I did to know I could do it again.
For sure. You can go about it like that as well. You can also think about it in the such that I can just set up a camera. Everything that I do is recorded instead of documenting with photos, which will probably be an easier way for you to do it because then you can show the customer exactly what you took apart and what was wrong. Like you said, documentation, which is same exact thing.
Daquan, I know y'all had 2 different debates. Do you really believe that, or just because I threw it on you? Do you really believe you need a certification?
Well, fixing the drone, I would say if you have experience with it, no. But if you want to work in the industry, yeah, you probably will need to, especially if it's like a name brand type of drone or a company that's mass producing it, probably.
And I really don't have to ask Alex because I already know. He feels though you don't need the certification. So it's a good debate here. That's all our time. This was a great discussion. We debated the value of certification versus hands-on experience. And we built a professional 5-step process for tackling any unfamiliar repairs with confidence instead of panic. So, Alex, Daquan, thank you both for joining me on the Drone Repair Show, Drone Logistics Services, and thanks for your incredible insight. For everyone who's listening, it's always nice that you join us. And teams, which side are you on? Team certification or team experience? So let us know in the comments. Check us out, www.dronels.org. Go to our YouTube channel. Check out Della and the Drone Squad, Della, Della and the Drone Squad. Check it out and let us know what you think. So with that being said, fellas, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Oh, don't leave yet. I'm going to just hit the stop button, but thank you for your time. And it was definitely nice speaking with you today.
Like, comment, subscribe.